All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So I want to, first of all, my name is Seth Cohen. I am the Director of Strategy and Analytics here in Precinct 4. We want to thank you all for joining us on a busy Thursday at a busy time of year. This is our second of 2 virtual listening tours that we've had this year, and the last of the ones that we'll be doing in 2024. And we're excited to end the year with you all, and we're already looking forward to next year in 2025. Tonight, you're going to be hearing from our Commissioner Briones, Ann Sung, our Chief of Policy and Innovation, Sean Peoples, our Community Programs Manager, and Dan Dimitrition, our Director of Engineering and Construction. Before we get started, tonight we are doing something very exciting. We are going to be offering this event in 3 additional languages: in Spanish, Mandarin, and in Vietnamese. So in a moment, I'm going to turn on the interpretation function. And what that means is at the bottom of your screen, when it's turned on, you will see a little globe. What you'll need to do is you will need to turn that on to the language that you want to hear. So if you want to hear English, you will click English. If you want to hear Spanish, you will click Spanish. If you want to hear Vietnamese or Mandarin, you will choose those languages as well. So now I'm going to turn it over to our interpreters, and we'll start with our Spanish interpreter to repeat this message before we turn on the system.
Hola, buenas noches. En este momento estamos ofreciendo servicios de interpretación en español. Y si usted desea escuchar esta audiencia o esta reunión en español, por favor, hágale clic al icono de globo que está en el fondo de su pantalla. Tiene que elegir un idioma para poder escuchar la reunión. Gracias.
Thank you. And now for our Vietnamese interpreter. Oh, I think you're muted.
Chào buổi tối mọi người. Cảm ơn tất cả mọi người đã tham gia cùng chúng tôi vào thứ Năm bận rộn này. Đội ngũ quận 4 rất vui mừng khi bạn tham gia sự kiện thấu lắng nghe trực tiếp thứ 2 trong số 2 sự kiện và là thấu lắng nghe cuối cùng của năm 2024. Tối nay bạn sẽ nghe từ Ủy viên Briones, anh xứ giám đốc chính sách và đổi mới, Sean People, giám đốc chương trình cộng đồng, Dan giám đốc xây dựng và kỹ thuật. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for our Mandarin interpreter.
谢谢大家在这个繁忙的星期四加入我们第4管辖区，很高兴你们能参加我们第2次的视频。这是2024年最后一次，今天晚上你当会听到 Commissioner Briones ensure 管理区的，还有那个政策的长官 Sean Peoples 社区的经理，还有 Dan Dimitrition 管理有关那个建筑，还有在我们开始之前，今天晚上我们会提供同步的西班牙文、中文还有越南文。在这个时候，我们会打开翻译的功能，在下面视频下面你会选择你要听的语言，包括英文。现在我们的翻译员将会重复这个讲话，将会用中文、西班牙文，最后是越南文来解释。如果在这个有什么问题的话，请在下面那个疑问交谈那里，你可以回答问题。谢谢大家。
Thank you. So I'm now going to turn on the interpretation tool. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat and we will answer them at the end of the session. Thank you. Okay, we will now begin. And I again, thank you all for being here, and we're excited to hear from Commissioner Briones.
Welcome, everybody. It's fabulous to see so many people here at our virtual town hall. This is the 18th town hall we have had since taking office, and I thank you for your engagement and your time and for being here. We are excited to share that the progress that we have made together, because we are deeply committed to making sure
Recording in progress.
Driving progress in Harris County Precinct 4 as well as throughout Harris County. So if we could please pull up the slides. Thank you so much. So again, we're very thankful for your time and thankful for your partnership. We're almost at the end of my second year in office as your commissioner, and it has been the honor of my life to be serving in this role. Precinct 4, we get a lot of questions. What does Harris County do versus the city of Houston or the other cities in Harris County? So what is Harris County Precinct 4? Let's start there. Harris County Precinct 4 is one of the fastest growing regions in Texas and in the United States. Harris County as a county is bigger than 26 states, and our Precinct 4 is bigger than 8 US states. We have over 1.2 million residents. Here you will see the map. We have the western portion of Harris County, and we have 5 different cities within Precinct 4: Houston, Katy, Stafford, Tomball, and Waller. And we have 10 community centers, which I hope all of you have visited. And if you haven't, we invite you. They are your community centers. And we have 55 parks, which are beautiful and spread throughout the precinct. We are in charge of over 1,600 road miles in the unincorporated area. And so when I refer to the unincorporated Harris County, that means the areas that are not in one of the 34 cities in Harris County. So we have 5 of those cities. So we are on first for everything that's in the unincorporated. Plus, we collaborate with the cities within our precinct. So we'll talk more about that in a second. We have 7 school districts. And as a former public school teacher, I taught 8th and 10th grade. And as the proud daughter of teachers, we have been working closely with school districts because I believe our youth are our future. So there you will see some of those statistics. If you could please move to the next slide. This is a breakdown of who exactly lives in Precinct 4. We have a melting pot in our precinct. It is one of the most international places, not only in Harris County, but in the state and in the country. And it is one of the most diverse. And our goal is not only to be one of the most diverse places, but to be one of the most inclusive places. So there you'll see the breakdown. You'll notice that approximately 64% of the population are age 43 or younger. Thank you very much. So to me, part of the leadership of Precinct 4 is we have to be very clear on why are we here, what are we doing, and how are we doing it. And so when I took office 2 years ago and built my leadership team, we were very purposeful about defining our core purpose, core values, core work, and core strategy. So why do we exist? Our core purpose is to advance opportunity and justice throughout Harris County. Our core values, how do we behave? We hire and we promote and we retain folks, and we expect every single day, every interview we have of anyone who wants to work here, we look for heart, hustle, and higher standards. Heart a servant's heart, the desire to serve the community and lead with love and compassion. Hustle, we will work hard, we will work smarter, and we will always be in a continuous improvement mindset so that we can better deliver, innovate, try new things, learn so that we are doing more. So we will always hustle and higher standards. We want to deliver higher standards of accountability, of transparency, of excellence, of integrity. And so the Heart Hustle Higher Standards, we talk about it every single day here at Harris County. And I'm very proud that we have over 450 team members in Precinct 4 working hard with Heart Hustle and Higher Standards. And every day we're delivering services to and advocating for all people in Harris County. And as we make our decisions, the core strategy, is this an equitable, fair distribution of resources? Does this empower the community? And does this represent effective and efficient government? So this is our commitment to you. And as the leader of Precinct 4, I'm so grateful to be here, and everybody we hire to work for you embodies this. And so we always welcome feedback on how we can continue to improve and better deliver the Heart Hustle and Higher Standards. Next slide, please. And we're pulling it up. In fact, tomorrow we're having our all-team end of the year review and then the vision for 2025. So all 450 plus of us will get together. And I very much look forward to that because the dedicated team of public servants we have is just energizing and inspiring. So policy priorities. I have two hats as your commissioner. One is to serve Precinct 4. Everything from potholes to ditch maintenance to the community centers, parks, the roads, everything we just discussed, and the emergency management response, which we'll talk about. But my other hat is I represent you on Harris County Commissioner's Court. There are 4 commissioners in Harris County as well as a county judge. So I am one of 5 votes for all decisions in Harris County, from the county budget to our investments in justice and safety and beyond. And so when we think of our policy priorities, my top priority is public safety. So justice and safety. Second, public infrastructure. So much of what county government does is around infrastructure. And we've been thinking very creatively, as we will discuss, about infrastructure and always keeping public safety front and center as we build our infrastructure. And how can we do it more resilient in a way that keeps our communities safer? Health, public health is another key policy priority and something that Harris County is responsible for, as we will discuss in a second. Education and opportunity. I believe all of us want a better life for ourselves and our children. So what are we doing to enhance economic opportunity here in Harris County, as well as support the educational opportunities? And then the 5th policy priority is good government. I believe we all can agree on the fact that we simply want the government to work and be as effective and as efficient and as transparent as possible. And always remember that we are fiduciaries and stewards of taxpayer resources. And so good government is key. And we'll discuss, so of these 5 priorities, there's so many updates, and I don't want to keep you all evening, but we have selected several illustrative examples in each of these 5 categories to share with you this evening. So next, please. So justice and safety, as I mentioned, this is my top priority. I am the mother of 3 little girls, and I don't let them walk to the park alone. I have also been the victim of crime various times throughout my life, and I carry that with me. I'm also a lawyer, and I also used to be one of your judges. I was a civil court judge, not a criminal court judge, but I have very much lived the inside of our justice system based on these experiences. So when we took office 2 years ago, this was one of our top priorities. There's so many examples. Here are a few. One, I'll start with the 6 new criminal district courts. You may have heard of the court backlog, which some of it is simply because of the continuous population growth in Harris County. Some of it, of course, was exacerbated by Harvey flooding the courthouses, and of course, COVID further exacerbated. But what I learned is that since 1985, we had only gotten one criminal district court in Harris County. I was 5 years old then. Think of the substantial growth we have experienced since 1985. So my team and I brought this to the court, Commissioner's Court, and we got our colleague support here. And then we worked in a bipartisan basis, went to Austin, advocated for these 6 new courts successfully. And so now we have 6 new criminal district courts, which will be, I believe, justice delayed is justice denied. So we need to make sure that we are as effective in the quality of justice and in terms of the efficiency. So that has been an investment. And complement that, we've used our Federal American Rescue Plan Act, ARPA dollars, to have visiting and associate judges. So we have cleared approximately 65% of the backlog, and we'll continue working hard until that is 100%. Also, we passed the Advancing Justice package, a court resources package, and this is a multi-pronged effort. But one, it was technology improvements for our courtrooms that hadn't been improved in approximately a dozen years. Mics wouldn't work for witness testimony. Evidence couldn't be displayed to the jurors, so we made an investment in that technology. Also, court reminders to make sure that individuals show up for their court date so that we then don't have to further continue and delay cases. We also worked on some case management practices so that, again, we can have the data in a very clear, crisp way and can continue this continuous improvement. So that's a multi-pronged. Look up our Advancing Justice package for more information. Additionally, I always think of things in terms of leverage. How can we better leverage our time and resources? To me, doubling down on those who have an open warrant for a violent offense, going after those individuals is a way we should be leveraging our time and resources. So we have invested nearly $10 million in the Violent Persons Warrant Task Force. And what this does, it's an overtime program of very experienced deputies who are laser focused on finding those individuals. And so we have had success there. Another example of how we're leveraging time and resources for our law enforcement officers is this teledeputy program, nearly $3 million investment in our Harris County Sheriff's Office. And what that does, rather than have a deputy go out for every call, if it is a call that is not urgent and is a nonviolent, nothing time sensitive, those calls are connected to a deputy in the office so that the deputies out in the field are responding to those calls that deal with violence and that are time sensitive so that we can reduce our response time. So that also has proven effective in terms of leveraging time and resources. And then the last example for today's purposes is a nearly $20 million investment in domestic violence to support domestic violence survivors. This is multi-pronged. Again, please look at our website for additional information, but this is money that has been given to nonprofits, over 19 nonprofits in the community who work in the domestic violence space. This is also, part of it was an investment in the youth who are experiencing violence and abuse in their home, because we know that those who have been abused are more likely to become abusers. So really focusing on the mental health and support for the youth. It has also been an investment to try to create more synergies and data sharing and effectiveness within all the different agencies that work in domestic violence in Harris County so that we can be more effective and efficient in supporting survivors. We have, unfortunately, Harris County leads the state of Texas in intimate partner violence, which is completely unacceptable. So we're working very closely with different levels of government as well as numerous nonprofits across the region. And I'll end with one final example. We have partnered with the state of Texas and the city of Houston in Precinct 4 now. If you go to our parks and community centers, we have an informational resource with a QR code so that those who may be experiencing violence can get connected to resources. Next slide, please. Again, go to our website because there's so many other examples and a lot more information. So infrastructure, I think of infrastructure as literally a way for us to connect, whether it's how we connect and get to our jobs, how we get home to our families, how we are able to endure storms. I mean, infrastructure to me is at the core of not only what we do as Harris County, but it is core to our quality of life. And we know we have infrastructure challenges here in Harris County. So I'll talk about flooding. Again, proud to represent the western portion of Harris County. We were severely impacted during Hurricane Harvey. As soon as I took office, we have been laser focused on making sure we are delivering on the 2018 flood bond projects, and we're making marked progress. And we have finished some key projects in Precinct 4, and you'll hear more about that from my infrastructure team member in a second. Moreover, as you know, we had been waiting on the funding from HUD that HUD sent us after Harvey, and now again working in a bipartisan way with our new General Land Office Commissioner, Don Buckingham, who is wonderful. We have been able, now we are getting the $1 billion that we had been waiting on for years. So that was something that my team and I have been very actively involved. And I want to thank you, because this November, y'all, the voters of Harris County, passed our flood maintenance increase, because we very much need to not only deliver new flood mitigation projects, but also maintain our current assets so that they're maximizing the protection they're offering you and your families. So those are some, there's a lot of examples with regard to flood mitigation. So again, happy to take a deeper dive later. In that, in terms of parks, we have invested approximately $55 million in Precinct 4 park improvements. And right now we have about 130 active infrastructure projects that total $420 million. So we have a substantial portfolio, and whether it's an intersection safety improvement, whether it's a road repair, whether it is we're expanding lanes for safety purposes and beyond. We're working on numerous trails. And one example that's not here, but I just have to share, because again, I used to be a public school teacher and I'm a mom of 3. We have invested $20 million in a sidewalk program where we saw gaps in sidewalks near schools, places of worship, economic centers, so that, again, your safety is of paramount importance. And we are nearly completed with delivering those 50 miles of sidewalk. We also, unfortunately, this year has been brutal. As you may remember, not only did we have the freeze, but then in April, Precinct 4 near Katy was hit with a tornado, and then we had the derecho in May, and then Beryl in July. So my team and I, we are part of your first responder team. We picked up 250,000 cubic yards of debris. We were one of the first agencies mobilized on the ground after the derecho and Beryl. And we were picking up debris, opening cooling centers and a warming center during the freeze, and distribution centers. And so I want to thank my team who left their families, their damaged homes to serve. I mean, it was one of the most moving and profound just acts of service I was witnessing. And it's intense. And we also have many examples how we're not only improving on how we want to respond to storms, but more importantly, what longer term investments can we make so that Harris County is more resilient. Next slide, please. So I believe deeply in partnerships and leveraging resources and talents and time. And so when I took office, this is one of the first things we started working on was a proactive call for partnership projects. In the past, many commissioners have only focused on the unincorporated, i.e. the parts not in a city. If it was in a city, it was the city's issue. And the truth is the cities are on first in the city and we're on first in the unincorporated. We will always deliver to the unincorporated with excellence. And 60% of the folks who live in Precinct 4 live in a city. So I wanted to make sure that as they're paying county taxes, we're delivering county progress. And so we launched a proactive call for partnership projects. It's called Places for People. As you see, we lean into the number 4 because you have to. So what we did is invited our cities, school districts, management districts, MUDs to submit an infrastructure project idea where we would go 50-50, 60-40. We ranked these projects based on safety, connectivity, how it would help with flood mitigation and resilience, et cetera. And so last year, we picked 32 projects with 20 partners so that together we're going to be able to deliver 170 million of projects. And if you go to our website, you can see all the projects we picked for 2023. And a couple of days ago, you may have seen the press conference with Mayor Whitmire and the Houston Parks Board and other partners. that we announced the Precinct 4 Places for People 2024 winner. So we picked 20 projects, and it'll be about a $50 million investment that we are doing in these projects. So please take a look. It's everything from parks to trails to drainage. We've also been applying for federal grants in a very proactive way. And I'm happy to report that we were granted the Reconnecting Communities grant from the Biden-Harris administration for A-Leaf. So West Park Tollway is one of the big projects we've kicked off in terms of how can we re-envision and improve the West Park Tollway. It is bifurcated A-Leaf for decades. And so as we are working on this feasibility study, we want to do it in a way that is community-led, community-driven, and in a way that can enhance the quality of life. So this Reconnecting Communities grant, we received it, and this will help us amplify how we're able to maximize the community benefit and community input. So stay tuned. We also applied for another Reconnecting Communities grant for I-10. So fingers crossed that we get that grant. Also, starting in early January, last year we took a couple of the City of Houston's parks under our portfolio, Freed Park, which you may have visited, in Burnett Bayland, in Gulfton, and Freed is an East Spring branch. We will be helping to mow and pick up trash in 8 additional city parks. Again, to this spirit of partnership. We're serving the same people. These are your tax dollars. We want to make sure we're delivering as much as possible and being as good of a fiduciary as possible. Next slide, please. Health. Health is of critical importance, as we all know, and I am very proud that we live in Harris County, where we have world-class medical care, that people literally fly across the world to get treated at Methodist and some of our top facilities we have just down the road. But it's also, it exacerbates the problem that depending on where you live in Harris County, there's a delta of 20-year life expectancy. And the fact that we have world-class care in this county and that we lead the country in maternal mortality is unacceptable. So we have been working hard because I believe that we need to make sure everyone has access. And so one example in Precinct 4, which I hope you will help us spread the word, if you look at the bottom left, the Bayland Health Hub. So Bayland Community Center is one of our 10 community centers. It's in the Sharpstown area. We had an empty building there when I took office. It was locked. It had boxes. It was not being used. And I told my team, we're going to do something transformational. Well, fast forward, we have a partnership with Baylor College of Medicine. We have opened this free teen clinic for youth ages 13 to 24, free. We are bringing world-class care into the community for free. And it's everything from immunizations, well visits, sick visits, physicals, mental health counseling is available there for free, contraception counseling, and beyond. There's a laboratory and a pharmacy on site. And so I'm really fired up about that. We've been making Bayland a health hub. So in addition to this Baylor College of Medicine teen clinic, we have a telemedicine site with Harris Health. We also have a diabetes prevention program. We have a mobile dental unit that comes once a week. We also just opened in partnership with Houston Food Bank and Tejano Center. It's called La Tiendita, which essentially looks like a grocery store, a free grocery store with healthy food. We give educational training, and this is to help address the food insecurity challenge. So we're thinking of our community center not just as an awesome place with exercise classes and bridge and community meetings, but how can we bring these health assets into the community? Thank you also for passing the Harris Health Bond, $2.5 billion. And we are hard at work. This will be a multi-year effort to deliver on the bond. So it will be a new LBJ, but also improving the current LBJ, improvements to Bentob, and we will be getting 3 community clinics, which I am very excited about. One will be in Southwest Harris County and one will be in Northwest. So one in Precinct 4, one very close to our border. Access Harris, over $20 million of federal ARPA, American Rescue Plan dollars have been. This is really an efficiency, operational effectiveness play. There's so many different social services, but often the data is siloed based on XYZ provider, city provider, county, state. So what Access is doing is so there's a no wrong door approach, and that if Lesley is getting services, we have access to what I am getting access to, so that the providers know and that the individual has a much easier time streamlining these services. These are programs that are already being offered. So part of good government is making sure we're delivering them more effectively and efficiently. Lactation pods. Again, I'm a mom of 3. I'm a working mom. I have had to breastfeed and pump in places that I should not have. And I remember that vividly. And so I'm very proud that thanks to, again, partnership and the generosity of the Houston Bar Association, and we just got another grant from the Texas Bar Foundation, we have set up 5 lactation pods in the courthouses and Harris County to make it easier for those who are using our buildings or going to the clerk's office, for example. So stay tuned. I want to continue building on that because, again, we want a healthy Harris County and we want it to be a place where everybody has the opportunity to thrive. So more to come. And again, so many other examples on our website, but in the interest of time, next slide, please. So education, again, I used to be an 8th and 10th grade teacher. And my parents were teachers for over 50 years. So education to me is everything. It is the great equalizer. And our economy, right? Economy. We all need to be doing our part to make sure that we stay a very globally competitive region and that everyone here in Harris County has a fair shot. So here are a few of the examples. We have invested nearly $18 million in paid apprenticeships. Again, as a former high school teacher, this made me so proud to vote in favor so that our community members can earn a healthy wage while they're learning. You can earn while you learn. So whether it is youth who may not be on a path to college, but who want a good paying job, whether it's our veterans who have coming back after serving our nation, whether it's somebody who has been out of the workforce, whether it's someone who's wanting to upskill. This is the largest investment in apprenticeships in Harris County history, and we doubled the capacity, the number of slots. So I'm very fired up about this and look forward to continuing to build it because we need to make sure, again, everyone has a fair shot, everyone can earn a living to provide for their family, and again, that we have the talent pipeline so that Houston, Harris County stays globally competitive. We've also invested nearly $60 million of federal, again, American Rescue Plan, ARPA dollars for early reach, and this is early childhood, to help folks get back to work after rebounding from the pandemic, and to make sure that our kids have high quality care that is focused on their education so that they can be as productive as they grow and have that strong foundation. We've also very much improved in just a few short years the percentage of Harris County contracts that go to women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. So approximately 29%, so over 29% now go to MWBEs. And in Precinct 4, we are very, very focused in empowering local businesses. And so we are making progress together there. If you need any information, we have held a record number of training sessions on how you get it in, are able to get in the framework to be able to do business with the county, the certifications you need, the paperwork. We're trying to open those doors of opportunity and access. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us. We also started a revolving loan fund to help small businesses, which I'm very excited about that, and also helps MWBEs, making sure, again, that those who are so brave enough to start their own small business, that we are helping to poise them for success. And another example is we have invested over $180 million in ARPA funding for affordable housing. So again, next, there's so much more information on each one of these. So please go to our website. Good government. Again, to me, this is fundamental. We must deliver government with the transparency, integrity, and effectiveness and efficiency that you deserve. So one example of this has been our property tax exemption. We, excuse me, we raised the amount that is exempt from property taxes. We raised it from $275,000 to $320,000. $320,000. So the exemption is $320,000 for those of you who are 65 and up, as well as disabled homeowners. So we hope that is helpful to you and to our families. We also have had 18 town halls or listening tours because we are very committed to listening, learning, and sharing what we are delivering for you. We also, our website used to be in 1 language, now it's in 12, because again, proud to represent the most international area, we need to make sure that everybody has access to the information about what the government is doing to serve them with their tax dollars. We have started the LGBTQIA Plus Commission, which is a first for Harris County. We also actually did this Tuesday at Commissioner's Court, just started the AAPI, the Asian American Pacific Islander Commission. We also have African American Commission, a Women's Commission, Hispanic Commission, because we want these commissions. These are volunteer community leaders, experts, activists who are advising Harris County on actionable ways we can improve what we are doing at Harris County so that, again, we're not only the most diverse, but we're the most inclusive and as effective as possible. So county board appointments. If you or anyone you know may be interested in being considered, we have all sorts of county boards, from healthcare to housing to services for children and for our seniors and beyond, sports authority, sports corporation, all sorts of boards. And so please, if you're interested, reach out to us to be considered. And we've been laser focused on making sure that our appointments are representative of our community. And we have found just brilliant, mission-driven folks with a lot of heart, hustle, and higher standards who are very much leading on these boards. And so I want to thank so many folks who have really stepped up to serve, whether it's Harris Health or the Public Defender Board, on Metro and beyond. So please reach out if you are interested. It takes all of us. Next slide, please. Precinct 4 Forward. We started a nonprofit, a 501c3 public charity, to amplify and accelerate the work that we are doing in the Harris County Precinct 4 side. So full disclosure, as I said, I'm a lawyer. I actually used to be a tax lawyer for nonprofits, and I worked at a nonprofit and led a nonprofit for 8 years. So I am all about public-private partnerships and seeing how the nonprofit sector with government, with the for-profit sector, we can really amplify impact and social good. So we started this nonprofit. We would love for you to get involved. It has helped us tremendously. One example that's not up here is after the Derecho en Barrel. Because of Precinct 4 Forward, we were able to be nimble in getting resources out to the community at our distribution centers. And so many different companies and very generous individuals donated to the nonprofit so that we had the resources much faster than the state of Texas or the federal government could deliver them. So thank you to everybody who was a part of helping Precinct 4 deliver in a very nimble, immediate way. We also were given again, I mentioned the $25,000 grant for a lactation pod. We also got another grant, $500,000 for that Baylor Teen Clinic I mentioned. Because of the donations to Precinct 4 Forward, we were able to start for the first time a free summer camp for our youth. And we partnered with the YMCA and Boys and Girls Club to deliver those summer camps. And we've also started after school programs for our youth, STEM programs for our youth. So the Precinct 4 entity helps us amplify, which we may not have the budget for on the governmental side. This helps us do more and allows us to amplify the partnerships we have. We also had a $20,000 grant for translators at Bayland and Burnett Bayland. And so these are some of the ways we're having, we'll get to a slide in a second, a big event this Saturday, free family holiday fun, and Precinct 4 Forward will be making this possible for our community. So if you have any interest in volunteering or donating, Precinct 4 Forward is a way that the community can have even a more deep involvement with our work. Next slide, please. Okay, so this is what I would love to invest. One of my daughters, my youngest, my first grader, Ana Lucia, who actually is home right now, burning up in a fever. It's that time of year. But Ana Lucia, and hopefully she's well enough by Saturday, but we will be having a Winter Wonderland Festival at our Bear Creek Park. We have a rodeo arena, which is really, really cool and unique. Off of Highway 6, we'll have live music, photos with Santa. We will be having our Healthy Parks workshop and ways where you can give us feedback on how we can continue to improve our parks. And so we welcome you to give us the feedback there on Saturday, or generally you can reach out. We'll have food trucks, we'll have free trees and more. So please join us. We would love to see you there. We'll have pet adoptions and all sorts of things. So next, please. And lastly, I just want to say again, it's the honor of my life to be serving as your commissioner. Thank you for allowing me and my team to serve you. We please need your ongoing ideas, questions, feedback, criticisms, because iron sharpens iron. And this is our community, and the government is a small piece of the answer. The answer is you. The answer is the community. So together, we can get so much more done. And I love Harris County, and I am energized by the progress we're making. And there's so much work to be done and so much improvement that is needed. And this is what our kids deserve. And together, I am very energized and optimistic how we can show how effective local government can be in advancing opportunity and justice. So please stay engaged with us. Thank you for spending this time today with us. Please follow us on social media, sign up for our newsletter, and call us with any questions, concerns, ideas you have. So with that, many, many thanks. You'll hear from me later at the end, but I want to turn it back to Seth. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And now we will turn it over to our Chief Policy and Innovation Officer, Ann Sun.
Good evening. It's wonderful to be with you all this evening. Thank you so much for coming out. Next slide, please. So it is my privilege to support Commissioner Briones in both of her roles as Chief Executive of our Precinct 4, and also in her role as one of 5 members of Commissioner's Court, which oversees all of Harris County. So what do we do in policy and innovation? So our team supports Commissioner Briones in advancing those 5 policy goals that she laid out, advancing opportunity and justice in the areas of safety and justice, infrastructure, health, education and economic opportunity, and good government. And how do we do that? We support her at Commissioner's Court, where she passes county policy, and also where we are looking out for your taxpayer dollars and investing those into the county departments that serve you all in so many different ways. Everything from the flood control district, which ensures that we are maintaining our channels and safe in times of disaster, in times of flooding, engineering that maintains our roads and bridges, to the Toll Road Authority, to public health, to our housing and community development department, which invests in affordable housing. And my team is working with building relationships with all of these departments to make sure that they are doing their work in a way that is as effective and as efficient as possible and delivering the service and the progress that each of you deserves. We also build partnerships, not just with these county departments that report it directly to Commissioner's Court, but also to the many diverse Harris County entities that serve our community. And these are governed by some of the boards and commissions that Commissioner Briones mentioned earlier, which we may appoint to. When Commissioner Briones came into office, we found that some of these seats were open. And so we moved quickly to find just wonderful people with heart and hustle, like Commissioner said, who are really leading and partnering with us. Everything from Metro to the Housing Authority to Harris Health to the Harris Center, which provides mental health services in the county, to the Sports Authority. We partner with community and neighborhood groups, industry and union groups to work together on education and economic opportunity. With subject matter experts and researchers at our local universities, and with businesses and philanthropy. Commissioner mentioned Precinct 4 Forward earlier, and they have truly been a wonderful partner in bringing additional resources to advance these goals in Precinct 4. Finally, we support Commissioner Briones in securing funding. So, of course, we are looking after your taxpayer dollars and making sure those are invested as responsibly as possible. We are also making sure that our federal and state tax dollars come back to us here in Harris County. And so we're making sure that we're applying for grants as a department in Precinct 4, and also supporting all of Harris County to go after grants and opportunities that can support our work. And then finally, philanthropic funds, which are often in the form of grants, which we'll come back to at the end. So what I'd like to do, Commissioner Briones gave a great overview of many of the wins that we've had, although they're actually just a sample of what we work on. I should say that at Commissioner's Court, which meets 1 to 2 times a month, there can be 400 to 600 items on the agenda. So it's a huge volume of work and accomplishments. But what I'd like to do is go kind of deep in a couple of areas to kind of give you a sense of how our policy and innovation work is advancing our policy priorities. Next slide, please. So disaster relief and resilience. Harris County, to live here means that we are living in one of the most disaster-prone areas in the country. And so it is important that we are responsive in case of disaster, and that we are preparing for the future so that we're ever more resilient. When Hurricane Beryl hit, we jumped into action immediately with seeking private donations. We're working to fix it, but for right now, it can take 48 hours for state aid to get to us in Harris County. And we know for so many families that we need to be getting them resources sooner than that. So within 24 hours of this hurricane, we partnered with organizations like the Houston Food Bank to immediately set up distribution centers and to get resources out to the community. H-E-B, Walmart, AT&T, T-Mobile, NRG, and others. So many donated resources that our team of almost 500 employees were able to immediately stand up and turn around and distribute to community members. So food, water, ice, batteries, other essentials we were able to give out. And then we also stocked cooling centers and distribution sites across our precinct. And I'm proud to say that we served more than 6,000 households and 3,000 individuals days sooner than other governmental agencies. In order to fully recover and prepare for future extreme weather, we also are working on long-term policies. And so this is everything from working on flood mitigation. So thank you for the investment that the community has made. We're going to be increasing the maintenance of the channels that have been built over the years in Harris County. We are investing in proper drainage with grant funding from the U.S. Department of Transportation. We are expanding our electrical grid capacity. Harris County won $250 million in the Solar for All grants coming from the EPA. And that is going to be an investment in large-scale community solar that's going to result in good-paying jobs for workers who build those solar panel sites, and also in cheaper electricity for Harris County residents and more resilience, as we'll have greater capacity to produce electricity right here in Harris County. Just a couple courts ago, a new policy was passed requiring backup generators for vulnerable populations. So in nursing homes and assisted living facilities, there's going to be an increased requirements that new facilities have backup generators so that if the grid goes down, people will still have essential care. And then green jobs is another area. So when we've invested in apprenticeships, one of the areas is working with Metro to train people to serve as electric vehicles. So these are ways that we are working to make our county more resilient and responsive in case of disaster. Next slide, please. Oh, back one, please. And even when there are clear skies, we are also working day in to day out to support families. And I'd like to give you, a sense of how policy and innovation teams work. And with Commissioner Briones' leadership is supporting families from birth throughout life. So first of all, we have had the opportunity to invest in reproductive health, primarily through education in partnership with nonprofits and health clinics in the area, making sure that families are informed about how they can do family planning. And so we were able to invest $6 million in American Rescue Plan Act funding in this program. Commissioner mentioned lactation pods in key county buildings. And we have worked across Harris County to implement an updated nursing employee policy, which ensures that across county facilities, there is time and space to conduct nursing activities. And as a mom myself, this is very important to me. For our youngest kids, childcare is so important and can be so hard to find in Harris County. So we've taken steps to provide a tax exemption under Prop 2 so that childcare facilities can pass on savings to families, and also to invest in an innovative way to subsidize spots for childcare, to reduce the paperwork requirement for families who are receiving subsidized early childcare. And that is our Early Reach program, where we are making programs cheaper for families and also building the capacity of early childhood capacitors, providing them training so that they are learning what does high quality childcare look like, because those early years are so very important. For our older kids, we found in Precinct 4 a couple of years ago that there was very limited summer programming. And so we have worked in partnership with Precinct 4 Forward to dramatically expand that. So now we have been able to offer free programs for kids ages 5 to 13 at multiple community centers across Harris County. And I'm very proud. It gives me great joy to go into our community centers and to hear the laughter of children and to know that they're in a place where they are learning, where they're well cared for while their parents are working and when school is out. School safety is extremely important. I think none of us can forget Uvalde and other school shootings that have happened even closer to home. And so it was important to Commissioner Briones to work with her colleagues in Commissioner's Court to restart the Safe School Commission, which had been created a few years ago. They had produced an initial report. We wanted to make sure that report didn't just sit on the shelf, but that there was active work to implement the recommendations and to keep the work live so that we're constantly working with advocating for new funding, perhaps from the state of Texas, making sure that we are working with school districts across Harris County to support them in implementing best practices to ensure that our schools are safe and our kids can be safe. And I'm very happy to announce that at our last Safe School Commission, there were 2 teens from Alief ISD, one from Alief ISD and one from Lamar High School in Houston ISD that became members of this Safe School Commission. And I'm just very thrilled that young people have a chance to work directly on this important policy area that will affect their lives and help make them, their fellow students and students into the future safer. Commissioner Briones mentioned the Baylor Teen Clinic, which offers free healthcare services to youth ages 16 to 24. We're so grateful to the Precinct 4 Forward, which helped to bring in an additional $100,000 grant to provide mental health services, which are free as well. Extremely important for this age group because the statistics show that up to 1 in 3 young persons have had depressive thoughts. And so it's really important that we're providing these kinds of services to young people and making them free and easily accessible. And then finally, apprenticeships. Harris County has made an investment of $17.6 million in apprenticeship programs, everything from very traditional plumbing work like plumbing to theater work to servicing electric vehicles. And apprentices who go through these programs are paid, they receive health insurance, and so long as they are willing to put in the work, they can progress quickly towards a high-paying union job. And we're just extremely grateful for this opportunity to invest in our communities and the stories of the people who have participated in these apprenticeship programs, men and women, and the impact it has had on their lives is just truly, truly moving. So, we hope that whether it's health or childcare, economic opportunity, affordable housing, we're always looking at the things that impact our families and working with our partners, whether it's a Harris County department, whether it is an independent commission or center in Harris County, that we are working together to provide better services across Harris County. Next slide, please. And I did mention grants at the very beginning. A final way that we are working very hard in Precinct 4 and across Harris County is to bring in more money. Grants are wonderful because they give us an opportunity to further invest in our community without raising your taxes. And so in the last year, I'm proud to say that we've successfully applied for and won over $28 million in funds. And these are everything from federal grants. For instance, the National Park Service has an Outdoor Recreation Legacy Program grant, the Whirl-Up grant, and Harris County won the largest grant, $11.3 million that was awarded in Texas. And that is going to Burnett Bayland Park and will help to transform Gulfton into a premier park destination. So extremely excited for that. We want to be able to provide right in Burnett Bayland the kind of top tier park that we have in other parts of Houston. And that can be a place where families can come not only for exercise, but where we can demonstrate best environmental practices, where we can have trees and native plants and water areas where it can be cooler. Gulfton is unfortunately 15 degrees hotter than the cooler parts of Precinct 4. And so investing in expanding park space and park access is extremely important for our families living in the area. And so more to come on that. We'll begin work on this project in 2025, and you will see over the next 5 to 10 years in further investments in this park. Another major grant we received is $11 million to improve intersections and replace traffic signals throughout Precinct 4. How many times are we driving in Precinct 4 and you see a traffic signal that has gone out, which is not just annoying, it's also dangerous. You see an increase in accidents in these kinds of situations. And so modernizing those traffic signals, improving the intersections, this is going to help us make driving around in Precinct 4 safer day to day, and is also really important for resilience in time of disaster, if heaven forbid we ever have to evacuate. So these are a few ways that we bring our work together in support of our community. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be with you all this evening and to serve you all.
Thank you, Anne. And now we'll go on to our Community Programs Manager, Sean Peoples.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'd like to get started. My name is Sean Peoples. I'm the Community Programs Manager for Precinct 4, and I'm very proud to be a part of the transformation that Commissioner Lesley Briones spoke about, especially with our community programs. And as we go on to the next slide, or with my slides today, I'll explain a little bit more about what we have going on as far as with youth programs, family activities, senior programs, as well as field trips and things like that. Next slide, please. So we spoke about the after-school programs that we have. We have some that are currently running right now, and we do have spots available for everyone or anyone who are interested to find a safe place for after-school programming. Right now, we have this happening at our Richard and Meg Weekly Community Center, as well as our Balin Community Center. They have free enrichment programs. They serve the afternoon meals, and it's a safe location for the kids to have fun, meet new friends, do different activities, as well as keep that learning wheel moving as well. We will be having an after-school program in the 2025 and 2026 academic year. We haven't begun the registration just yet, but that will be coming, so definitely stay tuned when that begins. We also will have a summer camp in 2025. The camps will be held at the same Richard and Meg Weekly Community Center, as well as the Raddick and Burnett Balin Community Centers, as well, and also Balin, where we'll be partnering with other community partners that be bringing in quality enrichment programs and learning opportunities for the kids. We actually, going along the lines that Commissioner Lesley Briones spoke about, of moving into a higher standard, we will be continuing our STEAM programs, which will actually be held at our Freed Park Community Center. That program will be ran. It includes opportunities and activities such as robotics, Lego robotics, 3D printing, rocketry. We do some of the we practice with drones and how to operate drones. And the participants have an amazing opportunity to earn a free trip to the NASA Space Center, as we did this previous year. And believe me, the kids, they thoroughly love that field trip. And some of the questions that they asked the astronaut that they got to spend time with, it kind of blew my mind as well as his. Next slide, please. Also, with our Family and Adult Fund, we're improving or implementing more youth sports programs coming with some of our brand new fields and parks and our soccer mini pitches at Burnett Balin, as well as at Free Park Community Center. We'll be doing the Soccer for Success program. This will be a free program for kids between the ages of 5 and 13, and they'll be able to work and play with kids and quality coaches that'll be able to teach them the fundamentals of soccer, as well as keeping them active, let them play rather than playing video games. We'll also have upcoming softball clinics at the Balin Park and some of the amazing fields that we have at that location. We have a lot of different activities and classes at our 10 community centers, which I too also encourage you to please visit the community centers. You'll be amazed at some of the things that you'll be able to see, do, learn, and just explore. We also have some activities, actually, such as at the Free Park Community Center, where we have the Fantasy Club, where the parents and kids can join together and play as a whole family or enjoy the activity as a whole family. We offer tutoring services at all of our community centers. For example, we have our Lotus Foundation or Lotus Partner that offers free tutoring for kids at our Tracy G Community Center, as well as our Steve Raddick Community Center. We have family movie nights where they at Tracy G, as well as they do a lot of crafts and do-it-yourself adventure books, and they really push the mind and try to see how extravagant you can get and how creative your kids' minds are. And your kids will probably push your mind as well to see how creative mom and dad is. Where they'll be doing teacher appreciation crafts at the Balin Community Center, as well as many other activities that they'll be able to join as well. Our nature centers, and including with our 10 community centers, we have 2 nature centers within Precinct 4. We have our Kleb Woods Nature Center, as well as our John Paul Landing Nature Center. They too also hold classes there. Some of the classes similar, like a closer look at nature. Like Kleb Woods, they'll be building or learning about terrariums and indoor gardening. At John Paul Landing, they'll do classes such as backyard mammals, as well as like you learn about turtles. They can fishing. I mean, there's so many different things there. Trust me, you can lose yourself on a weekend there. Next slide, please. We also have with senior activities as well, because we want to make sure the seniors stay active too. Pickleball, which is an amazingly growing sport going across the nation. We offer pickleball at our Free Park Community Center, as well as our Bernard Balin Community Center. But where you get to play, well, seniors come and they enjoy with their friends. If you want to learn to play pickleball, they have times where you can come and you can learn the full aspect of pickleball, and you don't even need equipment. We have equipment at Free Park as well at Bernard Balin, where we have paddles and balls, things like that. I would recommend bring some good tennis shoes and a lot of energy and some water, because it's amazing how much they play. We also have whole classes at our different senior education centers, such as Glacier, classes such as internet safety, fraud prevention. We have library services at our Tracy G. and Raddick Community Center, where you can learn services and resources in the law library, as well as just reading anything all the way down to Edgar Allan Poe, if you like. We offer multiple resources at our community centers as well as our senior centers, but one in particular would be the Veteran Service Department, where they often hold resource tables to answer questions and to help our veterans in need. One of the big things is our senior bus trips. Most are free, some are low cost, but they travel all around Houston. Some of the field trips are such as the Moody Mansion, the Gonzales County Jail Museum, Chapel Hill Lavender Farm, as well as trips out to George Bush Library, Galveston's Dolphin Bay, St. Francis Wolf Sanctuary, and many, many more. Next slide, please. So we have so many programs that I'd love to explain to you or love to tell you more about. But if you'd like to learn more about, especially with our youth programs that are coming up, our amazing summer programs that are coming up, and our outstanding STEAM program that's coming up, please feel free to reach out and contact either me, Sean Peoples, at speoples@hcp4.net, or Jonathan Leung, our Community Programs Coordinator, at jleung@hcp4.net. I'd like to thank you again for allowing me the opportunity to speak about our amazing programs. And again, I'm very proud to be a part of this movement. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. And it's great to hear about all the things you're doing over in community programs. Last but not least, I want to introduce our Director of Engineering and Construction, Dan Demetrician.
Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Dan Demetrician, and I am the Director of Engineering and Construction for Harris County Precinct 4, Commissioner Lesley Briones. So one question that we get a lot is, what does infrastructure do? What are the areas that we actually take care of for the people of Precinct 4? We have three main areas within our team. So the first one that people see the most is my team, this engineering, design, and construction team. So we are the ones that look after all of the capital projects that occur for on behalf of Commissioner, a lot of the projects that you see are roadway projects, but we also have a number of building projects and parks projects that will be coming down the pipeline here in the next few years and helping to improve, provide additional services for the county residents. Another very visible group is the road and bridge maintenance crews. So that team is the one that they maintain approximately 1,600 miles of road in unincorporated Harris County. So that would be areas where outside the city of Houston or any other smaller jurisdictions like the city of Katy or city of Tomball. So that team is the one that goes out and picks up debris, makes sure signs are safe and functional, paints lines, mows grass, anything that requires maintenance. They're the ones that take care of that work. Last but certainly not least is our planning team, and this team looks at completing community plans and other types of master plans for parks and other facilities that we are working on in the precinct. This team is quite a diverse team and has quite a different range of backgrounds, and their expertise ranges from land use planning to community planning as well. So next slide, please. So just like to go through and talk a few bit about some of our key projects that are going on right now and have been completed in the last year, and just give everyone some info on them. So first I'd like to bring up is our Sidewalks for Precinct 4 project, which was a $20 million investment to construct approximately 50 miles of sidewalks within unincorporated Harris County. In looking at this, in this project, we were really focusing on creating connections that would help provide pedestrian access to key locations such as schools, metro bus stops, religious centers, shopping, and so on, just to, and really focusing on areas where there is a definite need for pattern and different lack of sidewalks, that's for certain. We were trying to get this work done as quickly as possible, so we were focusing on areas where there was few obstacles to construction, things like we did not have utility conflicts or did not have land issues, and we were able to construct these projects much quicker than a lot of sidewalk projects are completed within Harris County. So right now we have approximately 38 of the 50 miles constructed. We're hoping to get the remainder done in the next month or so. Again, you'll probably see our construction crews. Again, we appreciate your patience as you cross by our construction zones, as a lot of times, especially with construction for sidewalks, there's usually a lane closed during daytime hours while the crews are working on the project. One thing to note is that the sidewalks are focusing to help students in the 5 school districts within our precinct. That's Alief, Cy-Fair, Houston, Katy, and Waller ISDs to get safely to school. We've known and heard from a lot of residents, especially in a couple of ISDs, that there has been a lot of issues since busing regulations have changed. We're very aware of that and we're looking at ways that we can help and construct more sidewalks in the future to make sure all students can get to school safely. Next slide, please. Another project that we have just announced actually on Monday was our Places for People 2024 program. So this project is in a partnership with various other entities such as cities, ISDs, or permanent ISDs, cities, MUDs, management districts, TIERS, and other governmental organizations to help partner and be able to bring infrastructure faster and at a lower cost to all residents. So when we look, this year we went out for a call for projects. We had our applications were open back in May and were closed around this summer. From there, we reviewed and we came up with a list of 20 projects that were selected to proceed into the program. So that represents a almost $49 million investment by both the precincts and our partners. You can see here that out of that money here, approximately 36%, or about 17.8 million, was invested by Precinct 4, and the partners that were involved in the projects help contribute the additional $31 million for the work. Couple things to note is that a lot of these 17 of the 20 projects are located in medium or high socially economic vulnerable areas, so they will definitely help the communities. And a lot of the projects that you see here, they are, again, a lot of hike and bike trails, but we also have some roadway projects, sidewalk construction, drainage improvements, and other signal improvements, and some other various projects as well. And a lot of our projects, about half of them, are planning projects. So the intention here is to undertake initial design work to be able to, in the future, have the project rejoin for another application to the Places for People program in future years, or help the partner agency acquire grants and funding from other levels of government, since most of the time those type of applications require some design work to be done in order to be considered. So it helps in both ways to make sure that, either we can support in the future or there's other avenues for financing as well. Next slide, please. As mentioned last year, we also did a Places for People project as well. This one was much larger at being our first one. So this time it was about 32 projects were selected through 20 partner organizations. This one was, again, much more sizable, about $170 million in total investment, with about 88 million coming from Precinct 4 and the remainder coming from partnership contributions. Also, again, one thing to note is that the projects, most of them are located also in high to medium socioeconomically vulnerable areas. So again, we're trying to help the people that most need the help in order to improve their mobility needs in that area. Next slide, please. Right now, we have our planning team has a healthy parks plan currently in progress. Here, Precinct 4 manages about 55 parks and green spaces and trails, all spread out throughout the precinct. And so we are working on developing a plan to look at how to best improve these trails. And right now, as part of the program, there is a survey right now. I believe it's open till the end of this year. So if you are interested, we would love for you to take the survey. Please scan the QR code that's shown on the screen, or there's the link at the bottom there. We would really appreciate your feedback, as the information you provide will really drive future investments in parks within Precinct 4. Next slide, please. One area that we are making considerable investment is within the Gulfton area. This area, as mentioned many times by Commissioner, is the Ellis Island of Houston, and has, again, a high number of folks that recently immigrated to the country, and again has a lot of issues, including it's about 20 degrees warmer than other parts of the city, and has a noted lack of mobility, plus a high utilization of transit within that area. So our crown jewel of our project is the Burnett Bayland Park project. So we had completed the master plan here earlier this summer, where the plan was unveiled, and now we are moving into design of the first stages of the work. So the first stages, we're hoping that construction will begin towards the second half of 2025. Now, part of that funding too will be used, as mentioned by Anne, was the $11.3 million ORLA grant that we received from the federal government. That would go quite a ways in helping the park become a premier location for all residents of not just Gulfton, but other residents of Precinct 4. In addition, we are working with Metro on improving bus stops in the area. Again, a lot of the bus stops that exist don't have any shelters of any kind. It's just simply a sign on the side of the road. And again, notice there is a very high usage of transit within that area. We want to make sure that transit users are comfortable, during rainy days, or even just having a place to stand outside in the sun. So we are working on currently with Metro and identifying all the possible bus stops. Preferably all of them, but as many as we can that we can install bus stop shelters. Also, in conjunction with the future BRT project that's going to be completed by Metro, another benefit of that will be to help improve drainage in that area. Again, as we're reconstructing the roadways to help to include the BRT. lanes. That way it will help also improve local drainage by reducing street flooding and also flooding into properties. So again, it's both a win-win situation in both. There's also uplift in our area, so some other area in this area and other things that we're looking at other smaller investments that we're doing, but will not near, but also very impactful, will be planting additional trees to provide space, shade. Again, there's a lot of pedestrians within Gulfton, and we want to make sure, again, with the heat and the sun, we want to make sure it's a comfortable environment for them to walk. And again, likewise too, upgrading sidewalks is also a key portion of that work as well. Again, that area, the area, to help, make it look a little bit more visually appealing and better is to by placing a number of murals that will go up within road right away, but will be, again, tailored to help exhibit and identify the diverse nature of the community. And also one other investment is a La Placita, which is a small installation that is placed within, either it can be on a road or in a parking lot, but basically it's a small area where folks can rest. You could even have a small market space if someone wanted to sell goods, but just a small feature that's something unique that would really help to improve the community. Next slide, please. So talking again, I'm sure pretty much everyone on the call was impacted by Hurricane Beryl this past summer. Again, it was a very large storm, not in density, but in the amount of damage that occurred. There was a lot of tree debris that needed to be cleaned up. Our precinct was slightly less impacted than others, but still the amount of debris was pretty monumental that needed to be picked up. So our Precinct 4 crews picked up approximately 100,000 cubic yards, or almost 7,000 dump trucks worth of trees and other debris from within our precinct. And that is just within unincorporated areas within the city of Houston, and other cities are excluded from that number, but it's just a monumental effort, and they were able to complete this work faster than any of the other jurisdictions within Harris County, including the city of Houston. So we're very proud of the work that they did. They worked very long hours in unpleasant circumstances, but they were able to get the work done, and we're proud of their efforts. Because we're able to help so quickly, we're able to help some other agencies, pick up and debris and help get their work done a little bit quicker as well. So we did a small amount with the city of Houston and HISD as well. But biggest one that we helped out was Harris County Precinct 3. Not only were they impacted by Beryl and the derecha, but they also had some flooding and storms earlier in May, which they were still cleaning up from. So our crews were able to help and take about 6,000 cubic yards, or around about 450 dump trucks of material, and help dispose of them and give them a bit of a breather so that they could keep going and getting their work done as soon as possible. Next slide, please. And lastly, just like to mention one of our most popular public services, which is public dumpsters. So we have 3 facilities, 2 in Tomball, 1 in Hockley. And this is, you can take in any non-hazardous material, anything from trees to old couches to you name it. We have a public dumpsters that be used by residents of Precinct 4. Again, very much more convenient than leaving it, or we really don't leaving it for the trash people to pick up, or if it's just too large, an easier way to dispose of it. The facilities are open Monday to Friday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. We really encourage you to go take advantage of these facilities. Again, it's one of our most popular services, and we'd like to make sure that people are able to dispose of materials of debris safely and and avoid littering, which is a material that's something that we have to end up picking up, ultimately speaking. And I think with that, next slide. And I think that's it for me. So thank you very much. I'll turn it back over.
Thanks, Dan. And thank you to everyone on our team that spoke tonight. I hope you all found it very informative. We're now going to move into our question and answer portion. And so I want to start with a question for the commissioner about how people can stay informed on the county parks projects and all the things that we have going on around our great parks here in Precinct 4.
Thank you again to everyone who has joined us and who's still on the call. We have a great turnout. So with regard to parks, 1, join us on Saturday. We will have a Healthy Parks Plan workshop. Two, if you can't join us on Saturday, we will put in the chat the link so that you can give us your feedback. Again, the goal of the Healthy Parks Plan is to look at the 55 parks we have, how we can improve them, plus what are ideas for additional green space. That's number one. We are also, again, in these Places for People partnership projects, working on various parks, Spark Parks. We're working with the City of Houston on their parks. So the best way to stay tuned, because there really is so much progress that's happening, is following us on social media and signing up for our newsletter. If you may be interested in Bayland or Burnett Bayland in Sharpstown and Gulfton, we're doing master plans there, as the team mentioned, and we would love to keep you abreast of that progress. In Freed Park in East Spring Branch, we have Freed Park. It is looking so great with the improvements, and there's more to come. So the bottom line is you can call us, email us, and follow us on social media. I am not pleased that Houston ranks so low when you compare Houston and Harris County to the other 100 most populous places in the United States. There's different data points, but we hover around number 80 to 70, depending on the survey. But basically, we're in the on the lower and worst end of the parks. So my dream is that everybody in Harris County is within a 10-minute walk from a park. It'll take us time to get there, but currently we're at 61% of folks live within a 10-minute walk. What a dream it would be to 100%. So we're actively partnering with the Houston Parks Board and other agencies. In flood control, there was a couple of questions about flood control, and we'll turn it over to Will Sherman in a second. But one thing we're also doing is trying to build back the natural infrastructure, nature-based infrastructure, to not only help with flood mitigation, but to really maximize green spaces with native seed mixes. We had flower mixes that we planted. So we're really open to your ideas on what we can do to beautify and make our green spaces healthy and more accessible for all people. And so please reach out if you would like to provide feedback or would like any additional information. And again, if you're free on Saturday for some family-friendly holiday fun, you can come to the Healthy Plans Workshop. Next question, Seth, please.
Thank you, Commissioner. We have another question similarly related to our parks about all the projects going on in A-Leaf and the A-Leaf Forest. And could you provide an update on the projects that are going on there?
Sure. So A-Leaf, we are investing approximately $2 million to plant trees. We have an A-Leaf forest, which this week at Commissioner's Court, we got the court's approval to name it the Barbara Quattro A-Leaf Forest, which I'm thrilled about. Anyone who knows Barbara Quattro, she's led our A-Leaf Super Neighborhood Council. She's been on the front lines for decades, helped to get the A-Leaf Community Center. She is a warrior and a champion. So we're so honored to be able to honor her by naming the A-Leaf Forest after her. So we got federal funds from the Biden-Harris administration after COVID to invest. And so these are $2 million for A-Leaf. We're also investing $2 million in Sharpstown and $2 million in Gulfton through this. It's called a crime prevention through environmental design. But basically, it's planting trees, improving public safety, lighting, celebrating the community with art and placemaking. So if you would like additional information about the work in A-Leaf or in these other areas, please let us know. And on the A-Leaf work, I want to thank. We've worked with A-Leaf ISD very, very closely and hundreds of A-Leaf students. So part of the $2 million SEPTED investment will also highlight some of the students' art. So we believe deeply in planting trees. We've been forming partnerships with all sorts of nonprofits and companies who have been donating because we believe it's an environmental justice issue. It is a health issue. We need to be protecting and preserving our environment for generations to come. And when you have, I represent Gulfton proudly, and I represent River Oaks proudly. And Gulfton is 17 degrees hotter because of the lack of green space. And we will do our best to continue planting trees and protecting and preserving the environment. It is a win-win-win. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for joining us. It's an honor to serve you. My team and I are all in with heart, hustle, and higher standards, and we wish you and your family a very, very happy, safe holiday. And I'd like to call Will Sherman up. He is here representing Harris County Flood Control District. We had various questions about flood mitigation projects and flood bond projects. So Seth will be asking those questions. Thank you, Will, to you and Dr. Peterson and all of the flood control team. So thanks again.
Thank you, Commissioner. Will, thank you for joining us, and thank you for all the work that flood control does as a great partner with the precinct and for the county. So the first question that we have is from a constituent about a flood control project near Horns Pen Creek. They wanted to understand a little bit more about the process of what happens when you do upgrades to a channel and to some of the parts of the bayou.
Sure. So I'm assuming this is so Horsepen would probably be one of our addicts, repair packages. And I believe the question, I'm assuming with the trails and impacts, and so these types of projects are maintenance projects. So the purpose is to restore the channel to the original design capacity. So in doing that, oftentimes there are trails that we have partners that we partner with other entities to build the trails, maintain them. And so whenever we do these projects, unfortunately, those are impacted. We try to minimize those as much as we can. But then, once that's complete, then the trail owner will come back and do the repairs. And sometimes as part of our contract, we will do those depending on the funding. But yeah, as far as any specific questions, I'd be happy to follow up if there are any issues with Horsepen. And before any project is closed out, of course, we have multiple inspections to make sure all the punch list items are addressed. So hopefully that answered the question. But I'd be happy to follow up after this meeting with anyone.
Absolutely. And I will put Will's contact information in the chat as well, so folks can respond with direct questions there. The commissioner mentioned all the CBDG mitigation and disaster relief funding that is going through flood control. Can you talk about the mitigation funding? Can you talk about when we can expect to see projects and where we can find information about the projects that receive funding?
Yes. So we're currently trying to get that together as far as showing that on our website for everyone to see. There've been some regulatory issues, federal, that could kind of move some projects around as far as the funding aspect of certain projects. But that should be available. I don't know, have a date when that is. But as soon as it is, we'll have that on our website. And of course, anyone can feel free to contact me for specific questions. And as soon as we have that, that will be shared.
Great, thank you. I think for now that takes you off the hot seat, but we'll let you know if we've got any more questions. Sure. The next question, Luis, someone asked about extending Keegan's Bayou Bike and Hike Trail from where the city of Houston stopped to Derry Ashford. Can you talk about that project and what's going on in the precinct in that area?
Yeah, absolutely. Good evening, everybody. We did accept the project in the 2023 call for projects. It's called the A-Leaf Trail, which does connect from Bray's Bayou just up north down to Keegan's Bayou. The section in question here is Keegan's Bayou itself, all the way to Derry Ashford. That segment was not one of the projects that was selected, but I did want to reference things that we're doing in the area, and I did recommend that we please get some of these comments included also in the Healthy Parks Plan survey. So please fill out the survey. Make sure you let us know. These are the kinds of comments we want to capture as a part of that effort to make sure that we're making those critical connections and identifying communities around this critical infrastructure where those missing gaps and connections are important. So please stay tuned and follow us along for the Healthy Parks Plan. Spread the word. But yeah, the project we're doing right now is in north and south on the Center Point easement, which would connect the two bayous of Bray's Bayou down to Keegan's Bayou.
Thank you, Luis. Moving over to our community centers, Sean, there's a couple comments and questions about fees to use certain rooms in our centers. I wonder if you could talk about that and the reasoning behind it.
Some great questions. Like Commissioner said earlier, these are your community centers, so we definitely want as much feedback as possible when you have them. So please come into the community centers or join the newsletters and send these questions in. As far as the actual fees that we have, I mean, I'll get a little more to it, is because some of them, the questions are a lot easier answered when you call us directly. So you can definitely feel free to contact me directly on my email, and then we can also going more in depth about it as well. Let me get over here and get more to it here. So what we do is our community centers, we aim to provide affordable and accessible spaces for all residents. And the fees that we charge are designed to support this goal. These fees help cover essential costs such as cleaning, maintenance, utilities, staffing, and many other opportunities as well. By collecting these small rental fees, we can ensure the facilities are well maintained, they stay safe, they're available to everyone in the precinct, and as well in Precinct 4. And our biggest priority is to keep these fees as low as possible while maintaining the higher standards that we push and that our communities that you deserve. So definitely, like I said, a great question. Please keep bringing them on, and please reach out to our community centers if you have more.
Thank you, Sean. And one more for you. We had a question about community center hours, and they specifically, is it possible to have Tracy G be open on Sunday?
Another great question. And again, like I said, we continuously evaluate our community needs and feedback to adjust our operations. When we have different questions, we have more feedback, and there's significant interest in like Sunday access, for example, we highly encourage you and other community members, anyone on this call or on this podcast, to come and share your suggestions and ideas with us. All of these suggestions and ideas help us assess demand and determine feasibility of extending our hours to better serve our community. So again, like I said, great question. Please keep them coming. The more information we have, the better we can serve our community.
Thank you, Sean. Will, we're coming back to you. If you could talk a little bit about the flood control district and how they maintain the property that they bought as part of the buyout from the flooding program.
Sure. And sorry, I'm not sure my video's not working. But yeah, as far as the buyout lots, we're looking at voluntary sort of system, and so whenever that happens, some neighborhoods, I know that we get questions about certain neighborhoods where majority of or maybe half or more houses have been bought out. And, sometimes that can create issues with, illegal dumping and other activity, trespassing. And so once, so kind of the process is once that property is bought out, then we add that to our list for maintenance. And so kind of like our channels, we mow our channels 3 times a year. And with the buyout lots, it's generally from April to October, and monthly mowing, and then when the mowers are there, if there's any debris, that's reported, and then that's removed subsequently. And of course, contact us anytime, and we'll get that in our system to address. And also, I know a lot of times we have issues with encampments and other issues like that, and we do work with law enforcement to address those. But it can be a little bit difficult, dealing with people. But yeah, I'd be happy to follow up with any further questions on the buyout process.
Great. Thank you, Will. And we're a little bit over time, so we'll go back. We'll do one more question. Luis, there's a question about the feasibility. When will feasibility studies for the Precinct Places for People project start for this last round of projects?
Thanks, Seth. So we will be, for the second round of call for projects, we will be starting those studies in October of 2025. So just a little bit shy of a year from now. In the meantime, we'll be doing a lot of legwork with all of our selected partners to make sure that we have all the legal documentation in place and the agreements in place, the scope of work prepared, and all the necessary professional services ready to go so that we can start in fiscal year 26, which again is October of 2025. So just a little bit about close to a year from now is when we'll be starting all of those projects. And again, go to our website. We've got an interactive map where you can see all of the 20 projects that were selected in this year's cycle. And you can also kind of toggle and look at the projects that were selected in last year's cycle. And so just tools, again, that we're making available to make sure that your government is responsive to you and that we're providing transparency and information to the community on all the efforts that we're doing here at Precinct 4.
Thank you, Luis. And thank you to everyone tonight for joining us. We hope you found this informative and we were able to get most of your questions answered. You can contact us here at Precinct 4 at any time. One of the best ways to do that is our service@hcp4.net. I will put that into the chat. Our community assistance department is amazing at making sure that you all get the answers to the questions that you need, as well as taking in service requests for our road and bridge team as well. So again, thank you all so much tonight, and we hope you have a great rest of your evening and a great holiday season. Have a good night.